Pourquoi les enseignements de Lénine sont aujourd'hui, même après 100 ans, toujours importants? Je m'appelle Imen Kahlaoui, je suis tunisienne et je suis aujourd'hui là pour la couverture médiatique du séminaire Les enseignements de Lénine sont toujours vivants pour les résolutions des problèmes et des crises actuelles.
Liebe Freundinnen und Freunde, liebe Genossinnen und Genossen, als Hauptkoordinatorin der ICOR ist es mir eine große Freude und Ehre, Sie und euch heute sehr herzlich zu begrüßen im Namen und im Auftrag der internationalen Koordinierungsgruppe der ICOR zu dieser Veranstaltung. Herzlich willkommen. Der 100. Todestag Lenins wurde zum Anlass genommen, dieses Seminar für die Zukunft zu organisieren. Es wurde das ganze Jahr über auf allen Kontinenten mit Veranstaltungen, Studienbewegungen und Diskussionen unter den Massen vorbereitet.
The ICOR seminar took place in Germany from September 13th to 15th and was very successful and forward-looking. Member organizations of ICOR, organizations outside ICOR, seasoned revolutionaries and fighters contributed their experiences, ideas, and proposals to the seminar. Men and women workers, as far from the car and steel industries, academics and artists, students, migrants, women of the militant women's movement, activists of the peace and environmental movements had gathered for the event.
And more than 45 countries, we have 700 participants. And after the 3 days long discussions, we just finished it with a resolution, and all the comrades from the whole world, they were agreed with the resolution, and the seminar was conducted by ICOR, and it was almost mind-blowing.
In den 100 Jahren seit Lenins Tod hat die Welt gewaltige Umbrüche erlebt. Und heute ist das ganze kapitalistisch-imperialistische Weltsystem von gewaltigen Krisen gebeutelt.
I bring you revolutionary greetings from ICOR Africa.
Lenin built the first independent socialist country in the world. Today, 100 years later, we live in a world where it is difficult to call any country in the world socialist.
Wir freuen uns auf dieses Seminar. Ein alter Kommunist in den Niederlanden ist jetzt verstorben. Der hat Lenin persönlich sprechen gehört und er hat gesagt, da stand kein Gott, aber ein kleiner bescheidener Mann auf dem Podium, die Arbeiter eine neue Welt bringen könnte.
So for 2 days, dear comrades, we will discuss a lot. We will learn from each other, of course, with respect, with all of the love that communists have to each other.
Ja, im Namen der deutschen ICOR-Partei MLPD heiße ich euch ganz herzlich hier im Gastgeberland Deutschland willkommen. Schön, dass ihr alle da seid, liebe Genossinnen und Genossen, liebe Gäste.
The seminar was led by the International Coordinating Committee, or ICC, of ICOR, and a collective presidium in a supremely confident, purposeful, and democratic way. It was conducted in accordance with the agreed-upon rules with a great readiness for a proletarian culture and debate full of seriousness and respect for each other, with a culture of discussion and solidarity. The international cultural contributions and a rousing international cultural event until the early morning hours brought everybody closer together. Joint struggle and celebration belong together.
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
In the run-up to the seminar, many initiatives already had been taken worldwide to make this seminar the highlight of the Lenin Year, which I-Corps had called for on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of Lenin's death. To kick off the 8 thematic blocks, 25 opening statements were prepared and delivered. They all bespoke high competence and proletarian spirit. Around 200 oral contributions made for a very lively discussion.
Lenin is one of the most important revolutionary theorists we have today. As a Communist Party of Kenya, we take seriously the teachings of Lenin and hope to apply his theories in our struggles for liberation.
The topic Lenin and imperialism gave rise to an equally controversial and creative discussion about how imperialism has changed 100 years after Lenin's death. Its essence, however, as dying capitalism and immediate preliminary stage to socialism, has not changed. The struggle against imperialism and fascism, against the global environmental catastrophe, and against the aggravated exploitation of humanity and nature has to be intensified, and it is necessary to fight for the leading role of the working class in these struggles.
India is an imperialist country. Imperialist country doesn't mean that you must be equal to USA. India is a junior partner of the international imperialist camp, but imperialist no doubt, because Lenin said imperialism is monopoly capitalism.
Es la primera vez que visito este maravilloso país de Alemania en esta convención internacional de la I-Corps, para poder ver los problemas de cada uno de nosotros, cómo es que el imperialismo viene atropellando los derechos humanos a través de los gobiernos que vienen sirviendo a este gran objetivo internacional, que viene perjudicando los derechos humanos de las personas. En nuestro país, en el año pasado, han habido muertes de más de 70 personas, incluidos jóvenes y menores de edad. Los trabajadores y la mayoría de los peruanos estamos conscientes de que tenemos que unirnos para seguir esta gran lucha y restablecer la democracia y unidos poder llegar a nuestro objetivo de recuperar nuestra libertad. ¡Viva la lucha internacional de los trabajadores! El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
Lenin's worldview and dialectical materialism promoted an in-depth debate and criticism of bourgeois ideology, of opportunism and reformism and revisionism, of postmodernist ideas, in contrast to a sometimes prevalent disregard for the ideological debate in the communist movement. Mastering and further developing Lenin's dialectical method is the way to creatively understand and alter the changing reality.
Ja, wenn die Massen nicht wissen, also wenn sie mit der wissenschaftliche Theorie des Marxismus-Leninismus nicht bewaffnet sind, da können sie nur spontane Kräfte führen, aber den richtigen Weg, dass sie zu einem wirklichen Ergebnis der Aufbau einer neuen, gerechten Gesellschaft führen, diese Waffen besitzen sie nicht und verhindern die fortschrittliche Entwicklung der Gesellschaft in den verschiedenen Ländern.
Nous sommes tous des marxistes-léninistes. Nous puissons nos idées et nos stratégies tactiques, des pensées, des lectures, des livres de camarade Lénine. C'était très important, surtout maintenant, parce que tous les mouvements révolutionnaires et marxistes ont besoin de puiser des idées et de la pensée stratégique de camarade Lénine. Vive le parti marxiste-léniniste!
Lenin, The Question of War and Peace and Proletarian Internationalism, was an exciting forum. What answers do revolutionaries, Marxist-Leninists, all peace-loving people have to the barbarous imperialist wars being waged? Workers do not shoot at workers is the proletarian answer to the war in Ukraine. This slogan follows Lenin's theory and practice. Instead of social chauvinism and defense of the fatherland, the only answer is class struggle, the revolutionary overcoming of capitalism and imperialism.
The working class, especially the industrial workers, must stand at the head of all progressive strata of the masses in Poland to halt the march of fascism and militarism. However, this will be unfeasible without a genuine workers' party. Its systematic building from the very foundations, out of the very prerequisites, is the most important task of Polish Marxist-Leninists at this time.
Discussion on Lenin and the struggle for national liberation was inspired by the great solidarity with the Palestinian and Kurdish liberation struggles, as well as the resistance against the occupation of Cyprus. The participants strove to understand how, in the spirit of Lenin, the national liberation struggle today can be inseparably linked with the class struggle across national frontiers and oriented towards socialism.
Die Massenlinie ist grundlegend im Marxismus, Leninismus und in den Mao Zedong-Ideen. Deshalb muss als Ziel der ersten nicht revolutionären Etappe im Klassenkampf die entscheidende Mehrheit des internationalen Industrieproletariats für den Sozialismus gewonnen und die breiten Massen in den Kampf gegen Regierung und Monopole einbezogen werden. Dafür braucht der Sozialismus ein neues Ansehen. Die MLPD hat aus dieser Erfahrung die Schlussfolgerung gezogen, dass der Sozialismus heute auf Grundlage der proletarischen Denkweise aufgebaut werden muss.
Lenin and the Youth was the discussion on how the youth, as the practical vanguard, learn everything that the class struggle requires of them as future fighters for socialism. The lively experiences of the revolutionary young people from the whole world show that the consciousness of the international youth movement is growing. The work in this movement must realize the unity of spontaneity and consciousness. International organizational forms should be created for this movement as for all others. The inspiring theatrical play about Lenin's life spotlighted this in a cultural way.
Haben wir Werkzeug nicht dabei, müssen wir es finden. Gibt es keine Kampfpartei, müssen wir sie gründen. Gibt es keine Kampfpartei, müssen wir sie gründen.
Also was ich gelernt habe, war, dass Lenins Lehren sehr umfangreich sind. Er hat uns so viel beigebracht und in dem Stück war nur ein klitzekleines Kernstück von dem, was Lenin beigebracht hat.
Sehr schön, in all diese revolutionären Gesichter zu schauen, zu sehen, dass wir an dieser Zeit zusammenkommen, auch hier und diskutieren über die Perspektiven der nächsten Zeit. Die Welt befindet sich an einem Wendepunkt. Wir sind in einer Phase, in der sich die Zustände zuspitzen. Die Jugend antwortet darauf. Die Jugend steht auf, in Aufständen auf der ganzen Welt, nach vorne zu stellen, ein revolutionäres Bild, eine revolutionäre Antwort zu geben und uns an diesen Tagen ins Bewusstsein zu rufen, dass wir unsere eigene Geschichte machen können, dass wir aufstehen können und Subjekte des Kampfes für den Sozialismus werden können, dass die Jugend auch voranschreitet.
Lenin, pioneer of the liberation of women. Since its founding, I-Corps has committed itself to supporting the worldwide militant women's movement. In view of the decisive role of women in the struggle for national and social liberation and for socialist construction, the task of winning the masses of women came to the fore in the discussion. The seminar sent brotherly and sisterly greetings to the women workers of the world, as well as to the women fighters in the liberation movements.
Wie können wir eine Frau unterstützen, die schlechte Erfahrung hat? Sie hat psychische Belastungen und sie kann nicht schnell arbeiten oder Ausbildung machen und einen Aufenthaltstitel bekommen.
Wir sind hier mit einer ganz tollen Gruppe. Natürlich ist ohne Frauen keine Revolution möglich. Das Kern von unserer Arbeit, auch weil wir noch eine kleine Organisation sind, ist das Industrieproletariat, um das zu organisieren.
Extra für das Lenin-Seminar haben wir Sonderangebote, Pakete zusammengestellt, immer zu bestimmten Thema. Lenin und der sozialistische Aufbau zum Beispiel.
Lenin's principles of Marxist-Leninist party building and its Bolshevization were confirmed, as was the necessity to draw conclusions from the revisionist betrayal. Many newly founded organizations, or organizations in the process of development, acknowledged the role of I-Corps and confirmed the incentives growing out of the work of I-Corps for work in their own country. Numerous mass uprisings and processes of revolutionary ferment are breaking through around the globe. However, they have not yet led to revolutions and to socialism. This shows that building and strengthening Marxist-Leninist parties has become the key issue.
I come from the United States of America. This is our first time attending any I-Corps event. We've made some really good connections with so many different organizations. The discussions are at a much higher level than what we have in the United States with other organizations. Many of the questions that other communist parties of other countries are asking are the same questions that we're asking. And we're all trying to figure this out of how do we build revolution in our country.
Ça, on peut dire que pour la France, comme pour bien d'autres pays, connaître Lénine, connaître l'expérience du mouvement ouvrier et du mouvement marxiste-léniniste, c'est important pour construire effectivement une opposition ouvrière et une opposition communiste. En plus, sans compter qu'on essaye de travailler pour aujourd'hui créer un front antifasciste et anti-impérialiste sur une base de classe, sur une base non pas social-démocrate, mais sur une base, disons, révolutionnaire.
Als Bergmann habe ich ja selber schon erlebt, oder auch sieht man weltweit, was da für eine Kraft dahinter steckt, wenn die hier auf den Putz hauen, ne, und hier auf die Straße gehen. Ich meine, ich bin ja auch selber in der internationalen Bergarbeiterbewegung tätig. Was ja jetzt hier deutlich geworden ist, das ist die eine Seite, ne, aber die andere Seite ist auch, dass man die Klarheit im Kopf haben muss, dass man diese Kraft und die Sache im Kopf zusammenbringt, dass man dann eigentlich zum Ziel kommen kann, zum Sozialismus. Ne?
Lenin and the Socialist Revolution. We need another go at socialism. This is only possible with convincing conclusions from the restoration of capitalism in all formerly socialist countries, from the great achievements and successes, as well as the shortcomings, failures, and mistakes in building up socialism. This requires a readiness for critical and self-critical examination and willingness to learn from one another. The open debate has to be strengthened so that we close ranks more and more within I-Corps and with all revolutionary forces in the world. The seminar was a virtuoso orchestra combining the experience from 5 continents in the struggle for liberation from capitalist and imperialist exploitation and oppression. Of victory for socialism was the overture and final chord. But our orchestra must be significantly strengthened in its revolutionary party building in every country. We want to become stronger than imperialism. I-Corps will continue to hold creative debates about the future of humanity and create enthusiasm for socialism. With 201 brigadists from 12 countries and the active participation of all those attending, the seminar was a real school of self-organization in the spirit of socialist Subotniks. These were days of socialism, its mode of thinking, working, and living, entirely in Lenin's spirit.
Attended this conference, this Lenin seminar for the last 3 days, and I must admit that I am really amazed and fascinated by the massive preparations which were completed here. Massive, and this is not only massive, this is gigantic. And this is a huge success, because I have seen with my own eyes how this whole tent was built within a very short span of time. And in front of my eyes, I have been witnessing how comrades from all walks of life coming from different corners of Germany, how they are dismantling it within few minutes. The seminar is over within 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They have again undone whatever they had created in the previous days. So I was here for last 7 days. And every morning when I get up at early morning 4 a.m., when I make my morning walk, I am astonished to see that security comrades are there all over the night. And there is, in India, there is fire on which you can take some warmth. There is no fire, not even a bench to sit upon. And comrades on all corners, every corner of the whole campus, I see every day. Comrades were cooking for us. Interestingly, in toilet again and again. They were speaking here also. So I came to know that some Central Committee members like Peter Rommel and many others, they are cooking here. Next time they are talking over the microphone. So I believe that there is no difference between the leadership and the cadreship. Leaders are cadres and cadres are leaders. That is one. And another thing is that same people, they are translating. Translating was a very big job indeed. And Marx also and Mao also, they taught us one thing: break the barrier between mental labor and manual labor. Those who work only mentally, intellectually, must go and do the physical manual labor also. And those who are manual laborers must also do the real intellectual work of thinking. They are doing the mental work as well. And the leadership is being taken in a collective way. And that is the teaching of Lenin, I do believe.
In diesem Sinne, geht in eure Länder, eure Betriebe, eure Wohngebiete, eure Organisationen zurück. Tragt die Botschaft dieser Konferenz um die ganze Erde. Und vorwärts mit der I-Corps, vorwärts zum Sozialismus, vorwärts in unserer Zusammenarbeit.
Lenin lebte, Lenin lebt, Lenin wird leben. Lenin żył, Lenin żył, Lenin bude żyć. Lenin lived, Lenin lives, Lenin will live. Lenin vivió, Lenin vive,